Right, that's set up. Hello, everybody. Just wait for you all to join, or a few of you to join. I can see the attendee list is now going up, which is excellent. Brilliant. So I'm going to share my screen. And just before I start, actually, can the member of the panel just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen and hear me okay? It's always a good start when that happens. And just before we start, actually, I know there's quite a few of you on this morning's session, so we've been clever, and I think I've managed to live stream this to our TSO YouTube channel. So if you are struggling to join on this Zoom network, there is another option available. So I'm hoping somewhere on the screen, it will give you some login details to be able to join via the YouTube live stream. So, but just please make a note in the chat if you are struggling, and I'm sure a member of the panel can help you out with that. But anyway, on to this morning's session. So hello and welcome everybody. Hope you're all staying safe and well. And it's like I say, it's great to see so many of you joining this session this morning. So welcome to this safety climate webinar, where I'll be providing an overview and the science behind creating a successful safety culture within an organisation. And as part of that, demonstrating the Health and Safety Executive Safety Climate Tool. But just realize let me just start things off by introducing myself. So my name's Carl Whitman, and I work at TSO, who are HSE's commercial publications and products partner. And actually what I've realized as well, I haven't actually started recording, which is a good start. There you go. So just a bit of background, TSO, or the stationery office, or you may know us better as the old HMSO, are the UK's largest government publisher, and we are the Health and Safety Executive's official publication and products partner. So what does that mean? That means we print any of the guidance that you can see on screen there, such as the law poster or the accident book, to managing the online assessment tools portfolio, which of course you'll be aware of includes the Safety Climate Tool. I'm just going to touch on two tools that you may not be aware of. It's also in the range. So we do something called the Stress Indicator Tool, which helps organisations manage work-related stress, and the Musculoskeletal Disorders Assessment Tool, which helps assessors record the risks posed by carrying and lifting. So if either of those or any of the publications sound of interest to you, you can find out a bit more about those on the HSE Books website where you registered for this webinar. Let me change screen. There we go. Now, just to let you know, we are going to have to run this webinar slightly differently this morning. Unfortunately, Jen Webster from the Health and Safety Executive, who usually presents with us on these sessions, has been called away. But don't worry too much, as in her true kind of award ceremony style, she has made us a recording. So I'll be playing that out to you shortly after I've finished doing the intro. So as I say, it's kind of really invaluable that you understand kind of the background of the science behind why having a successful safety culture is so important. Like I say, it gives you the high-level overview of the framework involved in the HSE approach and how best to achieve those outcomes. But after that, we have Wendy Palmer and a few other members from the TSO team who will be doing a live demonstration of the Safety Climate Tool. And showing you all the various features, such as how the system works, how to analyze the responses, and benchmarking your performance against those industry standards. As we go through the presentations, please feel free to type your questions as they come to you in the Q&A box in the lower taskbar, because once the presentations have finished, we will run a Q&A session. We have the opportunity to ask any further questions you may have. So as there's quite a few of you on this morning, if I could ask that all questions about anything that we cover in this session are typed into the Q&A box. And then you also notice we have a chat facility as well, which I see a few of you have found. If you want to put in there, introduce yourself, say where you're from this morning, it'd be great to obviously get to know you all. So please, yeah, feel free to use that facility to do so. And then right at the end, we'll provide you with some advisable next steps and just some ideas to start considering if you would like to adopt this approach that we're going to present to you across your own organisations this morning. Lastly, to mention, we estimate this webinar will last around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on obviously how many questions there are at the end. So hopefully you can all stay with us until then. But you may have just heard we're also recording this webinar. So don't feel too bad if you do have to leave early or something else comes up. We appreciate those things happen. So that's why we make sure we record these sessions. So actually, I think that's probably enough from me at this stage. My job's just to introduce what to expect from this webinar. Now I'm going to try and be clever here, and I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And like I say, I'm going to try and play Jen's video that she's kindly recorded for us, so you don't miss out. And let me just check the sound is all ticked on. Excellent. So
hello everyone, and welcome. This session, I know a lot of you will be, obviously you're here because you want to find out about the safety climate tool. So I'm going to take you through maybe some of the elements of information that you might find helpful to have the conversations, because my guess is, based on what other people are telling me during these sessions, that you're intelligence gathering, you're trying to get some information, you may need to have some conversations with relevant people in the workplace. So hopefully in the next 5-10 minutes we can give you that before I hand over to Wendy to show you the tool. So we're going to the first slide, or even the next one. There we go. So understanding safety climate. There's lots of definitions about safety climate, and you'll be familiar with safety culture. And if we're honest, a lot of people get the two terms mixed up, which is fine. But what often happens is that when you want to try and get things safer, you want to improve the way you do things in the organization you work for, often the focus can be on providing training, what the organization does, making sure that you've got all your reporting systems in place. You might provide training, and then you might be doing some behavioral observations to make sure that people are actually doing what they should be doing on the basis of all the extra hard work that you've done. But you're never quite sure how it's landed. And this is where safety climate comes in. This is an opportunity to actually get a snapshot in time of actually what people think and how they perceive health and safety in their day-to-day lives. So we'll go to the next slide. Here we go. So when we talk about safety climate, we are looking at a variety of elements that all contribute to how people feel about how well things are done. Now, we know that when organizations pay attention to the climate of the organization, it's almost like putting the whole thing together. We know that they have better foresight. They understand which bits of the business are really going to cause some problems down the line. So they tend to have fewer accidents, near misses. They have better safety performance because the personnel, the staff, the employees, they have a better understanding about what the risks are and how they ought to be controlled. And they're going to be more motivated to behave safely and to look out for their co-workers, to make sure that if they see them doing something stupid or something that's going to put them at risk, they don't feel afraid to say, hang on, mate, you're going to cause yourself another problem here. And they don't have to have the supervisor or the team leader or the manager on their back making sure that they're working safely, because it becomes just everyday business. It becomes the way we do things around here. So in order to us to actually get to that point, we have to get a really good understanding about what our people think about the priority that the business gives to safety. Are they paying lip service to it? Our leaders, do we see our leaders? Do we see our managers? Are they always behind the desk all the time doing all that wonderful paperwork? Or do they actually go out and about and see what the real world's doing? Are there safety management systems? Are they fit for purpose? Do they actually relate to how the job's actually done? Or are they a figment of imagination from someone who's actually never done the job in the first place? And the same for policies and procedures. How useful are they? Are they 20 years old? Are they a cut and paste job? How much involvement, how much decision making do the workforce actually have on the critical elements of the job that keeps them safe? How much ownership, how much control do they have? Now, at the bottom in blue here, you see job stress and burnout. We know that from the literature around work-related stress. If people feel that they have some say in how things are done, they feel supported, particularly by their supervisors or team leaders, that can offset some of the heavy demands that people have, all the stresses and pressures that people have in the daytime. So not only does having an understanding of safety climate help you improve the way you do things around here from a safety perspective, it can by proxy, reduce some of the stresses and pressures that people feel day to day. So if we go on to the next slide. Here we go. So based on the literature and also our experience, because we provide consultancy, we run the safety climate tool and we help organizations in different sectors look at improving the way they do things around here. They improve the safety culture, and we use the safety climate tool. We know from our own experience, and it's borne out in the literature, that if you take a step-by-step approach, you're more likely to succeed at getting the improvements that you want. Now, you could see some of the information I'm giving you here as maybe part of the foundation. And we know that there are critical things that you need to be doing, is having conversations, particularly having conversations with the people at the top. Because if you're, your CEO or your director, or whoever actually is the one who makes all the critical or key decisions in your business, if they're not completely bought into this, then you're wasting your energy. And I shouldn't be saying wasting your money, but literally that's what you'd be doing. So we do advocate you spend a bit of time just talking to people. You might want to maybe set up a steering group, and there's lots of information contained within the safety climate tool anyway, lots of free help guides. I call it like the virtual consultant that can guide you through this process. But where we're here with the safety climate tool is the analyze bit. There'll be other metrics that you probably collect, but the safety climate, what better than getting almost like a really 360-degree indicator from all of your staff at all levels in your business, right from the CEO right down to even your subcontractors, getting them to actually complete the survey and actually get a really good understanding whether all those elements I showed you in the previous slide, how are you doing? Are things working? Because often you will know yourself that you don't always, if someone said to you, if your boss said to you, how are things? How are you getting on with this project? How are you getting on with that piece of work? You may be not going to tell them, absolute 24, carat gold, truth. You might sort of hedge your bets a little bit, because we all want to be seen to be doing a good job. And sometimes we want to maybe, not share some of the bad stuff with our bosses. But this is a way that you can actually make sure that you do get that clear line of sight, because people tend to hide things with the best of intentions. And those are things eventually can come as a big surprise if something goes wrong. So I say you have all these 5-stage approaches, and I say you can work through the tool, and it will enable you to sort of take stock, have the evidence that you can go to your workforce and say, well, why do you think, we've got these sort of results? And then it can help you make a plan. So if we go into the next stage, the next slide, I should say. And again, these are some of the things with the analyze stage. So some of the questions that, if you were leaving here this afternoon, I'd ask you to consider is, do you have senior management buy-in? And then when you do go on to get the safety climate tool, is just to think about, what does it tell you? What do your workforce think will help? Don't just rely on the safety climate tool. Think about canvassing the views from people across your business and getting solutions from them. The tool, as Wendy will show you, does give you some top level recommendations to take forward, but you'll get more buy-in from our experience if you pepper that with people's opinions and views and ideas moving forward, because it's going to demonstrate that yes, you really do want to make a difference and you're not paying lip service to this. And then you'll be thinking about what can you do now, what can you do later. So again, people fall into the trap of thinking, right, I've got to do everything straight away. You're all busy, everyone's busy, you all have a lot to do in a very short space of time. So where it works is where you have short, medium and long-term actions to take forward, and then you run the tool again, maybe in a year, maybe in 18 months, depending on your progress, and see what difference it's made. So if we go on to the next slide. There we go. So I sometimes get asked some technical questions, just in case there's anyone in the audience that was interested. There is a lot of science behind it. You know, it is based on the literature, and our statisticians within our science division in HSE, which is our commercial arm, have done a lot of number crunching. So basically, in lay terms, it does what it says on the tin. It does measure the climate, the perceptions that people have in the business, and you can actually be confident that you will get results with the same group or different groups, depending on how many times you run it. Okay, so I'll hand over to Wendy now, Cole.
Excellent. Big thank you to Jen for recording that yesterday afternoon. Yeah, I know she really wanted to be here to do this presentation live with you all this morning, but yeah, she got called away to I think deliver a training course at the Buxton site of HSE. But I am going to stop sharing, which I think that's done that, and we'll hand over to Wendy to give a demonstration on the safety climate tool.
Hello, I'll just quickly share my screen with you all. Bear with. Hopefully you can see my screen all okay. Yep, fabulous. Okie dokie. So what I'll do is I'll start off on our webpage. This is probably where you signed up for the webinar. And then what I'll do is I'll take you through the tool and go through the different stages there. So we've got build, collect, analyze, and then we've got the benchmarking afterwards. And I'll just go through all of that with you guys. Yeah, this is a page that you probably started off on, and there's some helpful little videos, and there's just a bit about the safety climate tool and what it does, everything for you there. And we've got some benefits of using the tool. We now actually have over 50 languages that you can use. You can have the templates in. So the most recent one being Peruvian Spanish. So just thought I'd make you aware of that. So we've got a nice long list there of different languages that you could use. We've also got a bit more information further down here about the pricing. So you've got up to 50, and then there's also pricing for 10,000 plus. So if you're one of the larger ones, we can do a quote for you. There is a year one licensing fee, and then after that this will be your renewal. So if you wanted to renew for a couple of years afterwards, that would be the charge there for you. And then down here near the bottom, just got some white papers on the tool, how it was developed, and bits and pieces in there for you. And there's a few how-to videos and just general information for you there. I'll see if I can grab the white papers. There we go. So there's quite a lot of different information in the white papers, just in case you ever wanted to have a bit of a read there for you. Lovely. Okie dokie, so what I'll do is I'll jump over to the tool itself. So it's on the Survey Delivery System, or SDS for short. We do have other tools here as well. So we do have the musculoskeletal disorder tool and the stress indicator tool. You can see those there, but you would just have the safety climate tool in your system here. So what I'll do is I'll jump onto the template and I will show you what it's like to build one. The survey, lovely. So I'll just call this one webinar so we know where we're going with this one. You can call it whatever you like. So this is just the little setup wizard that will help you guide you through setting up your survey. Lovely. So you can personalize this with all like your organization logo, your organization name. And here you can also put here how many people that you were planning on sending out the survey to. If you don't know exact number, you can put approximately in there. And you can also link a web page afterwards. So for example, we've had a few businesses who have done like another survey afterwards just to stop survey fatigue. There's also been another company that has also taken through to like their company work page, which had a bunch of updates on there. So that's quite a nice little option, and that's what they would see after they have submitted their survey in. I've also got a bit here about the background of the survey. You can personalise this. We do recommend doing a background if you can, just so your respondents know why you're doing it, what you're aiming to get out of it, and then that sort of encourages responses there for you. We've also got a expected completion date. Most companies do about a month, just in case anyone's on holiday or off ill or anything like that. Some of the larger companies do 3 months, so it's however you want to do it. So where are we? We are the 6th today, so I'll do 6th of May would be a month from now. Gosh, May already, blimey. Right. And then here we've got an option for the to put in what to do with the paper questionnaires after they've been completed. There is a few ways of sending out the questionnaires, the surveys even. So paper is one of the options, but there's also a QR code, a URL, and there's also a social media option as well. But I'll touch on those in a second, but this is just if you were going to do the paper survey where they've got to put it once it's completed. Lovely. Just a little bit about how feedback will be given. So you could put a little bit in there if you're going to plan on doing a meeting at some point. You could put the details in there. You can also add in a management statement as well, just to encourage those responses. You can put in a signature, and then you can also put in the name of your managing director or CEO. And here we have the role, or well, it depends what you call it. If you wanted to change it to grade, you call it grade in your company, that's not a problem, you can change that there. But I'll stick with role for now, and then you can add up to 15 there. Let's go for 2 for now, because I can't think of 15 roles off the top of my head. So again, you can change these, so you can put whatever you like in. I'll just keep those for now, so worker and team leader. And then you can also split it up into departments as well if you want to do. So again, up to 15 of those. Oh, let me click it. There we go. Lovely. And we'll just keep with those for now. And again, you can do the same if you've got multiple sites, locations or regions, whatever you call them. There we go. Lovely. And then we've also got an option for you to analyse your results by tenure or length of service of staff. If you wanted to do that, you can change the lengths in here if you wanted to. So if you've got quite a few people who've been there, for example, over 25 years, you can change that if you wanted to. And you can also do the types of work that people do. This one's quite an open one. We've had different people put different things in here. So we've had like night shift versus day shift. You can also put in anything like office workers, factory workers, like the types of work that people do. So that's quite a nice open one there. And you can also ask the respondents whether or not they're contractors. If you don't want to include them, you can just go no on that one. And then there's also an option to add up to 6 of the open free text questions. So you can add up to 3 of your own ones here, and then there's like the suggested ones here. You can change the wording on the suggested ones if you wanted to, but you can also just add in, there's a few blank ones here for you to add in your own ones as well. Just to make you aware, with the open questions, they do produce qualitative data, so you would have to run your own analysis on them, but they are still in the report, so you can, so there's a nice long list of all the responses, but I'll show you that in a little bit for you. Lovely. So it's just a bit of terminology here. So for example, you don't call rules, procedures, call them rules. You can change all of that sort of stuff in there. And again, a bit more terminology if you wanted to change any of the wording. And here we just have a little bit about benchmarking. So you'd want to choose the one that you're, the sector that you're most like. So for now, I'm just going to go with construction. There we go. Lovely. So that's how quick and simple it is to build the safety climate tool survey there for you. I'm going to have a bit of a Blue Peter moment, and here's one I made earlier. So this is what it looked like once you finish building. You can go back into build if you wanted to, and you can go back and edit it. So if there's something you wanted to change, you can. That's always an option for you, not a problem. But the next step would be collect. So we've got the different options of how to send out your survey. So I mentioned this a little bit before, just about the paper copies here. We've also got the URL. That's probably the most common way of people sending it out, to be honest, is you send it out via your own emails for people to complete. You can also customize the URL as well. So if you wanted it to say safety climate survey or something else instead of there, you can. Also QR code, some people made it into posters, flyers around the workplace, so people can scan it with their tablets, phones, if they wanted to as well. And then we've also got an option for social media a little bit further down there. But what I will do is launch a preview so you guys can have a bit of a look at the questions. So let me just do that. There we go. So this is just a preview here. So it just has your background in there, when the surveys must be returned by, and then just instructions on how to actually use the survey. Oop. So I'll just move this box that way. There we go. So they've all go from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So it's like a little tick box that they would have to tick. Some of the questions here are negatively worded, but then when it comes around to the reporting, the report actually flips the scores already for you, so you don't have to do any of that yourself. It's already done for you. So I just thought I'd mention about that. And it would have your logo up in the corner here and whatever you're going to call your survey. I'll let you have a bit of a read. Again, if you changed any of the terminology, that would all be in here as well for you. Lovely. There we go. So there's 40 questions in total, and then you've got your demographics as well, which you set up a little bit earlier. Nearly there. Awesome. So then we have what you set up earlier. So your role, your departments, your sites, contractor, how long have you worked there, type of work. And then there's an option for them to type in their answers to the open questions. And then that's how easy it is for your respondents to sort of go through the survey and answer them for you there. So if you did have a link at the end, for example, another survey or anything, if they click submit, it would then take them through to that link. So just thought I'd make you aware of that. Lovely. So I'll jump back onto SDS and I'll just quickly show you this bit up here as well. So once you're ready to take all your survey live and everything, this is how you would set it to go live. So you can schedule it. You can put your day when you want it to start and the day that you want it to end, or you can just press start interviewing, and then when you're ready to stop it, there's like a little stop button you can use as well. So there's a couple of ways of just doing it there. But I'll just go into the report itself. Oh, what if I clicked it? There we go. Lovely. So this is the report. It does automatically generate for you. I'll zoom in a little bit because I know it's not the biggest thing on my screen. I haven't got the biggest screen in the world. So I'll go full screen and then zoom. I think it's going to be the plan. There we go. Ooh, may have got a bit too much there. There we go. So this is the report for you there. You can actually run the report whilst it's still whilst the survey is still live. So halfway through, if you wanted to have a look and see how you're getting on, you're more than welcome to just run the survey, see how you're getting on and everything. You can see here how many people were invited and then how many responses you've received. And then it just goes through your overall amount of responses. So these are for the different factors here, so you can see, and then it goes from unfavourable to favourable. It's just an overall look at this. It'll go into a bit more detail further down. You've got here the factors with the most favourable responses here, and then you've got your factors with the most unfavourable responses, and then you've got your high proportions of neutral responses as well, so you can have a look into those. Just a little bit about the benchmarking. There is a bit of further benchmarking, which I'll show you guys in a bit. And here is the first factor. So that's organisational commitment. I think I've zoomed in a little bit too much. There we go. So it will have your overall at the top here. And then you've got your different questions that came under the organisational commitment factor here for you. So you can see your different scoring. Again, if there was any negatively worded questions, scoring will be flipped automatically on there, so you don't have to do any of that. Here would be your most favourable and unfavourable aspects of organisational commitment, and then you've got also your favourable responses by role. And just a little bit about the benchmarking here for you. So you can see how you're getting on against the all industry benchmarking. So this is just similar across all the different factors here. So I'll just whiz past all of this because with the similar layout here. Go to the bottom of the report. Dun, dun, dun. Awesome. This is the bit I wanted. So you've got next steps. So here would be your 3 most unfavourable responses. So these are the ones for you to look at. Here we've got some suggestions on what you could do if you're a bit stuck. So you could have a bit of a look at those, see what they suggest for you. There's also an option here, just a little bit about the consultancy team who would be able to help you. So if there's something you're particularly stuck on, for example, employee engagement or behaviour change or anything like that, they will be able to help you. Just to make you aware, it is a separate additional cost for the consultancy team, but if you are interested in it, just let us know and we're more than happy to send over your details to them and set up a call. Lovely. So yeah, all the reports are downloadable, so I just thought I'd mention that. It's just at the top there. And then what I'll do is I'll go into the next report, which is the demographics. So these are all your demographics that you set up earlier. So you've got your role, your departments, site, contractor, how long you work there, and type of work as well for you. And then also we've got the open questions. So this would just be, it's just a list of all the answers that you've received. You might be able to spot some quick wins in there. So they are definitely worth doing. We also have tables and charts as well for you. So if there's anything in particular you really want to have a deeper look at, you can. So if I just go for role for now, you can see it in a chart or a table form, however you prefer. So you can see a bit more of a breakdown there. The one I did want to point out was on summary charts here. There is a summary of mean scores. This one's particularly helpful for the benchmarking, which I'll show you guys in a second. These numbers here are really helpful for that. So that would be where you would find that. But you can also see results by different different factors, sorry. And you can also see results by the question as well. So if there's a particular question you really wanted to look at, you can go into that as well. There is also an option to filter. So you can, let's have a look, you can filter by different sort of roles and departments, however you want to do it. You can put on more than one filter at a time. Just to make you aware, the survey itself is actually anonymous, so you would need to have 9 or more responses to receive the report. You just have to bear this in mind with the filtering as well. So you don't want to filter too far down and then you won't be able to run a report. So if, for example, there's only one person who's in management who is in a certain department, you wouldn't be able to filter down to that level. So just sort of make you guys aware of that. So we also have a survey help section. I'll quickly dive into there. So that's just in the corner there for you. So if you do ever get stuck or get a bit, just need a quick reminder on how to go forward. We have all these helpful videos. There's PDFs you can download as well to help you through that. We also have these really helpful resources as well. So if there's anything in there that you really wanted to look at, so if you're getting stuck on how to brief your workforce, anything like that, I think there's even posters and flyers in here as well. So there's so much information in there for you guys to have a bit of a look at.
Wendy, sorry,
yep.
just to step in. So Ian, thank you very much for your question on the marketing types of material. So as you can see from what Wendy's just gone through, yeah, posters, all of your internal communications and everything is supplied as part of this to enable you to tailor for your own organisation and obviously promote the survey to increase response rates. If you're able to go into a couple of the posters,
yep.
that'd be excellent, Wendy.
Let me see. Oh, sorry, I've zoomed in a bit. I don't think you guys probably can see that very well, but there's a few posters. There's flyers as well, I believe, if I go down a bit further. There's some custom ones as well. I'll go into a flyer. This is just a random flyer. Oh, it's the same as the other one, but yeah, there's posters and flyers, and there's loads of stuff in here, to be honest, for you guys to sort of help with all of this. So I hope that answers your question, if that's all right.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, before you move on, Wendy,
Yeah.
as well, if you want to just go back to the help section, because we appreciate it's always quite a daunting task of knowing where to start. So we've broken this down into the various stages. So
Yeah.
we work on a kind of a 5-stage approach. So there's the starting off what you need for when you're planning to run the safety climate tool. So we've broken that down and what resources you'll need from that section, as you can see in that nice bullet point list, and then we've given some guidance as well how you'd go about building the survey, again provided demonstrations, how you would go about sending out the survey to collect responses, and again we've provided some guidance and another demonstration video, and then the analysis phase. So when Wendy showed you how to filter the report to get out of it what you need to work out from the data, again we've provided that information to you. And then finally, there's just some ideas about how you would then go about evaluating the scores and whether you need to put together another focus group to say, look, this is what we've done since running it on this date, and then how we're going to fix X, Y, and Z, or how we're going to roll it out again, maybe in the next year or whatever it is that you want to do from the data. So just wanted to say that, yeah, we appreciate, obviously it is quite a daunting task of knowing where to start, but we have tried to break it down into kind of manageable stages for you. And this is all available free when you take out a license for the tool. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So we'll let you finish off by showing through the benchmarking data.
Yeah, of course, no worries. So just at the bottom here of the help page, there is actually a bit more further benchmarking for you, because we had that all industry in the main report, but here you can look into sectors as well. So there is data for 2019 and 2021 currently, and there is a report and a radar graph. So I'll start off on the report for you. So I'll just go for 2019. There is different sectors in the different reports. So if there'll be different ones for you to have a bit of a look at. So this is what the report itself looks like. Hopefully you can see that all right. I'll go full screen again, because I know my screen isn't the biggest. Awesome. So it's just a little introduction there. We've got the different sectors here that are on this particular report for you to have a bit of a look at. And then you've got your all industry comparison to have a bit of a look at there, see how you're getting on against all of those. The 2019 one was against 167,500 individual responses across 130 organisations. So you can kind of see where that data has come from. And then it's also got your mean scores and the unfavourable. I can't get words out today. It's got your mean scores for your most favourable and most unfavourable responses for you there. So I'll just take air because it's the first one, just so I can show you guys a bit about this. So this is the, so you can see here how many respondents you had for that particular sector and how many organisations it made up. Then you can see all your scoring there for you, and then you can see your minimum maximums. And then you've also got your, again, your based on your mean scores, your factors with the most favourable and the most unfavourable responses there. So you can compare that if, for example, you were part of the air sector, you can compare that against your own scores. What I'll do is I'll just whiz past the other ones for now and just take it. Go down to the bottom because there's a little bit more information down there. Get there eventually. There we go. So this is just the factor comparisons. So then you can see, for example, organisational commitment, how you're getting on against that particular sector. You can also do comparisons against other ones. So if you've got one department, which, for example, is to do with food and beverages, and the rest of your departments are all manufacturing, you can kind of do different sort of like, you can kind of see for the different sectors there for you. Again, that's just across all the different factors on that particular one. And then I think that is the end, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that's the end of that report. But then what I'll show you is the radar graphs, which is the best bit in my opinion. So I'll quickly just dive back on there. So we've got the radar graphs here. So it'll come up in a Excel, if it'll load. Oh, I didn't click on it, that's why. So there we go. So it'll be an Excel sheet here. So it lets me edit. There we go. Let's move this box out of the way. You've got just a little introduction here for you, and then you've got your all industry. So all your different tabs across the bottom here are all your different sectors. You've got your all industry at the beginning here. So what you would want to do is back on the, oh, didn't mean to do that. Back on SDS, where we were before, and we have those mean scores that are brought up in the tables and charts section. You'd want to take these scores here. So I'll just do the first two, so 2.8 and 2.92. Let me quickly just grab those. So 2.8, 2.92, and then you can see how that is changing against the all industry here. So you've got your organisational commitment, everything in there. You're this orange line here for you to have a bit of a look at. And then that also changes here as well on this graph as well. So you can see how your scores are doing against everyone else. But you can also go across to, I'll just use air again because it's the first one. There we go. You can see how you're getting on across this particular sector. Where we put the scores in before, it's automatically saves it. So you can look on all the different, you can flick across all the different sectors and see how you're doing in comparison if you wanted to. And those scores are already inputted for you. So you just want to put those in this orange column on that all industry sector. So this is a really handy little bit of benchmarking for you guys there for you. So that's pretty much it with the safety climate tool. I'll just do a quick little summary of what the tool does for you. So the safety climate tool assesses the attitudes of the individuals within your organisation towards health and safety. It generates a comprehensive report which is guaranteeing anonymity and provides guidance that will help improve your organisation's safety culture. So that's just a quick little wrap up for you there. And I think we've got a few questions to answer after this, I think. Thanks, Carl.
Excellent. I just found the mute button. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Wendy, for that brilliant demonstration of the tool. And as you say, we're now going to run a Q&A session. But we also appreciate there was probably a lot to take in there if it's the first time obviously seeing this tool in action. So just to clarify, we have also recorded this session, and hopefully if it downloads in time, I can get this sent out to you by this afternoon. If not, I promise I'll get it out to you at some point tomorrow. So if you don't have any questions right now, but once you watch it back and you say, oh, I need some clarity on that particular point, just come back to me from my email, and we'll be able to answer those for you. but I have seen a few of you been eagerly typing away. So if I can just say, if all questions, please, can be typed into the Q&A box, it just helps with making sure that we make sure we get through these. Now, I know quite a few of you have already been typing away, and I know members of the team have been busily typing, trying to answer them in the background. So I'm just going to have a look through, and we'll be able to answer them for you. So the first one here was around paper copies. So I know Wendy touched on there was an option for when you're sending out the survey, if you don't have Wi-Fi connection, you don't have access to a PC, it is available to download as a PDF, and then obviously you can print those out and hand them out to the workforce. However, if you do go down that method, obviously you will need to then manually type them up again, so it does create that extra administrative burden. Alternatively, the software developers of the tool do have a way to scan in those paper-based surveys, but again, there is that possibility of data being lost, not being scanned incorrectly. So we really try and encourage you, if you can, to obviously send this out electronically. Perhaps, I don't know, I know we've had some examples in the past where you dedicate, I don't know, one PC and you have members of the team come in one by one, so that might be an option of way of getting around that. Also, just want to let you know that we also have a mobile app. So if you do take out a license for the tool and you have an administrative login, you can use those details for the mobile app. So if you don't have connection, so the great thing about the app is if you don't have connection to or Wi-Fi connection, for example, you can then send out or hand out the survey to people to fill in, and then once those responses have been collected, the app will store it for them, and then once you're then connected to a mobile connection, all of the reports will be all of the responses will then be uploaded to the system. So there are options around that. I'm just going to open up to the panel. I don't know if there's any questions that you want to answer.
Just checking, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we've got you.
Yep.
Your mic's
Okay,
working
so
then.
my mic is working this time. So my name's Ian Fick. I'm the account director at TSO. Just to answer one question, but go into a bit more detail around, looks like it's from Lorraine, about security of the data on the site. I'll mention the key things first. So we are ISO 27001 security compliant, and the system is GDPR compliant. All of the data collected on the individuals completing the survey, all of the workers, is fully anonymized. The report does not allow you to generate the report if you have less than 10 respondents. And that also includes when you're doing the filtering by demographics. So any area where there's less than 10, it will not produce a report to protect the anonymity of the individuals involved. So in reality, the only personal data which is stored on the site is the one administrator's username. However, taking that wider on the data is obviously for HSE to continue to develop the science and the understanding. We do obviously extract the organizational data at an organizational level to generate the benchmarking reports, but that is fully anonymized. So I hope that helps answer that question.
Excellent, thank you, Ian. Just having a look through. There's a question here around the analysis. So are you able to benchmark your results against different, and I've just seen you've marked it in, if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, just to say, we provide benchmarking data to everybody who uses the tool for every single organization. Aside from every single industry sector, we have benchmarking for. We review it at least once a year to identify any additional sectors where we can provide benchmarking. The reason we give you access to every single sector, the example we tend to use is Boots the Chemist. With Boots the Chemist, are they a pharmaceutical manufacturer, a warehouse and distributor, or a retailer? In reality, they're all three. So we give access to all of the benchmarking data, so you can not only look at organization against all of the data we hold in the system, but you can then start to benchmark sections of your business. So you have a warehouse, you could choose to benchmark your warehouse results filtered by the demographics directly with the warehousing and benchmarking to give you a little bit of an idea. Hopefully that helps.
Excellent, thank you, Ian. There's a few questions around, can I have a look at it before deciding to purchase? Now, I will say that there isn't a free option or a pilot version for this tool because the questions are protected. However, if you want to have a conversation with us offline about that, I'm sure we can set something up and work for you on what would be best for your organization. So if you do want to see a bit more of the tool's capabilities, just get back to us when I send the email out, hopefully later today, if not tomorrow, and I'm sure we can, one of us can work with you on that to see how best we can support you. Go on, Ian, I can see your...
No, I was just looking through sort of the numbers or sort of the different elements. So looking at Kev's question, does the tool tell you what good looks like? I suppose that's the key purpose of why we have benchmarking. For example, I will say that everybody's results will be the lowest on usability of procedures. The purpose of benchmarking is to show you that it's not necessarily your lowest factor that you should focus on. And you should actually look at where there is, it's not about improving the numbers and the results, it's by identifying what areas are going to be a highest risk to your organization. So if there is one factor you are dramatically below everybody else, that possibly shows that there is an issue within your organization that needs to be considered and addressed. But just remember, the tool is only part of the solution. Obviously, once you have results, it's about identifying, possibly through working groups, how you're going to develop an action plan of what you're going to do differently off the back of these results to improve the culture within your organization. And just for Spencer, just to say, the benchmarking data is only available to subscribers as a value added part of the service.
Yeah, and there's just a question here around, again, on the same theme of benchmarking, can you compare against a competitor? You can't compare directly against a organization, but if we do have benchmarking data set for an industry, then of course, yes, you could compare your own scores against that particular industry set, not necessarily just one organization. Don't know if anyone else sees any more questions that they want to answer live on this session.
Yeah, just on the one from Roger, are there similar interfaces to input into larger overall company maturity models, such as dimensions of safety or OOR RM3 model? The simple answer to that is no. This is designed, and the science behind this is to operate as a separate tool. Consolidating data from one survey to another doesn't necessarily mean it's scientifically relevant, and more research would have to be done on that. But obviously this does help give you a benchmark where your organization is and where your organization is against others within your industry and others in general. Hope that helps. Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you, Ian. Actually, there's a question here around, does the stress indicator tool work in a similar way? Yeah, the best way to answer that is, so it uses the same system, but obviously you're looking at something completely different. So the best way to find out more about that is, again, register for one of our webinars, and you can, I think we've got one coming up next week or the week after, can't remember when Easter falls, but I know we've got one coming up in April. So if you want to find out a bit more about that, you can, of course, register on the HSE Books website. Questions around, are you planning to add any more industry sectors, e.g. education? Of course, if the data sets allow us to do that, if more organisations obviously come on board, then we can use that data set. Obviously, we need to make sure it's statistically accurate. So that's why potentially the education industry hasn't been added as yet. Excellent. I don't know if anyone sees any more. If not, I'm just going to provide just some last steps. actually, just before we leave you, I'm going to post a link in the chat window. So it's great to have all these questions come in, and if you do want to speak directly to, potentially someone that's using the tool at the moment, or if you all want to join and just get to know each other a bit better, we have got a LinkedIn group going. So if you are on LinkedIn, you can sign up for the group in the chat. Sorry, the link in the chat. If you want to sign up to our group, it's on all of the HSE online tools, and yeah, do a bit of data sharing and yeah, get to know each other a bit better. Okay, I think we'll end this morning's session there, but just say thank you all for your time. We hope you found it useful. And like I say, if you do have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I will be sending you a link to this recording later on today, hopefully. So just come back to us on that email and we'll be able to help you out. But just say thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. So thank you, everyone.